back to building with the boys. It's time for a weekly catch-up. We've had Titanic this week, which was really nice, because we were told there was a delay, but they weren't quite specific about how long the delay was going to be. Turns out not so bad. This is the second time they've warned us of a delay, and the delay's just not really been that ferocious. It really hasn't. But it was our first pack of 4, and it was nice doing them. It was nice to get into it, because it feels like we've actually started now on the Titanic. Before, when it was like 1 or 2 pieces, it just felt like we weren't really getting going, because most builds start with either the test parts or you get your first delivery of 2 parts, and it just felt like that. It felt like, come on now, can we get moving on this? And now it feels like we have. It feels like we're going now, and that's a good thing. It is all over the place, the Titanic, and there's no sign of that letting up, because we're not focusing on one piece and building. We're literally jumping around all over the ship. So we've been building the hull, the bow. We've done a bit of the keel. We've done some more decking. We've built a funnel, bizarrely. I mean, we're not going to use that funnel for ages, but we've made a funnel. And whilst we're on the subject of the funnel, just quickly, a lot of people ask me about the tiny screws for the funnel. They are small. They're really bloody small. They are the smallest screws I've seen on a part work to date. I've seen some tiny screws. These are microscopic, really small. They're almost like watch screws. Tiny, tiny, tiny screws. Now, what I use for those, I use for everything. I can actually show you. I use 3 screwdrivers for everything. Every part work I do. And I use wearers. That's what I use. So Wera is W-E-R-A, Wera. And I use the following. So the one that does the lion's share of the work, it does pretty much 90% of any part work, is the, let's see if we can get that on focus. It's the PH0. So the Wera PH0 does 90% of the work. If I need a little extra torque on something, when it's kind of a metal into metal or it's a tight part, I kind of really need to drive into it. I use a fatter headed screwdriver. I just tend to find it bites more. There's no sort of give in it, and that is the PH1. So this one rarely gets used, but it does get used. And then for the tiny, tiny, tiny screws that do come up, I use a PH00. And it's a tiny head on it. So I mean, you can see there's very little difference in the 3 heads, but there is difference. So PH00 for the tiny screws, PH0 for the bulk of the work, and PH1 for when I need it, you know, a little extra oomph. And that's all I use. And the PH00 work perfectly for those watch screws. Again, I can't ask about, oh, I lost one, I lost this one, I lost. Well, I use a magnetizer for my screwdrivers, and I also do something that could be seen as overkill. But I'll show you what that is. I'll show you a demonstration of what I do, just so I don't lose these screws. It's not just screws, tiny little plastic components. I've had them where I've used the tweezers and ping, one's just gone flying off into the ether. So I do this because of that. So take a look at this, and this is kind of what I do to avoid that from happening. Okay, so firstly, magnetizer. Just magnetizer your screwdriver. That's all it is. You just roll the head in there like that. You can pick one of these up for a few quid from Amazon. They're not expensive. And the top section does exactly what it says on the tin. It will demagnetize it, take the magnetization off the screwdriver. But once it's done, you can then just pick up your screws with the head. And that's it. I mean, that helps a lot. When using tiny screws, that's a massive help. The other thing I do, and this is really quite simple, and this is excessive, but having dropped little screws myself and also little plastic elements, using a piece of paracord. You just mark out your area, right? Or string, cord, whatever you want to, anything you want to use. I mean, if you're worried about losing a little part, I mean, I did it with the Ecto 1. I lost one of the little switches for the radio, drove me mad. Eventually found it, but if you don't, like me, if you don't enjoy scouring around the floor for these things, this is all it is. I mean, all it will do is it will just provide a barrier. So when these things do drop off, they're not gonna go anywhere. I mean, you know, because they're not coming off with force. It just provides a little barrier to stop these things. So you know you've got your area. So if you don't have a workbench that has a trough attached to it, you just use this, and it just keeps them in this area, so you know where they are. And then you can, of course, pick them up with your magnetizer. So it's just a simple thing. And I mean, I'm probably preaching to the choir, but I'm just saying, it's a real simple solution that stops you from losing little screws. And if you are worried about using tiny screws, little plastic components, it just is a nice safety net, just to have a little barrier there to stop it from going anywhere. Because I've done it. I've had them where I can show you my desk. They've rolled down there. They've disappeared into the abyss over there. They've rolled off the table this way, and then, you know, I'm searching around through the thick of a carpet trying to find a little screw or a plastic component. It can be a bloody nightmare. I lost a piece of the Ecto, like I said, and it took me weeks to find it. I eventually found it, but again, so after that, no, I don't mess around. If it's tiny, I make my little area there, so I know it's not going to go anywhere if I do drop one, and the magnetization helps massively. That's all, just a tip. If it comes in useful, great. It is excessive, it is overkill, but I get OCD about losing little screws and pieces. So that's what I do. I mean, again, it's excessive with the cord, but if you've ever lost one of these little pieces, you might understand why I do it. Now, I don't always tape it down. Again, I just mark an area out, and that's it. If I'm working with something tiny, that, you know, maybe they've given you one spare, it's one of those. I mean, the bulk of these, you get that many, and I do keep the screws. You get that many spare screws, it's not really that a problem. But sometimes you get a very unique size screw or a little spring or something like that. I don't want to lose it, so I just do this just to make sure it ain't going anywhere. Because, as I said, I lost a piece off the Ecto and it was gone. I just came to peace with it. I'm like, you know what? I've lost one of those buttons from the radio. It's gone forever. And I thought, you know what? The Ecto one was a junker. Maybe that a missing button on the radio. It's fine. And then bizarrely, it turned up. I found it. It was like a 1 in a million shot. I was looking for something else, and there it was. So yeah, it was pure fluke. But ever since then, I'm like, yeah, that ain't happening again. So I just mark out, if I'm working with something minuscule, I mark out an area like that. I stay within that area as I'm working. If it drops, I catch it. Again, you don't have to do it. It's just what I do. And yeah, that works for me. So back to Titanic. I know that coming in 13 and 14. So in 13 we get more parts of the forward well deck. We get a big piece of keel. We don't install that piece of keel. We just get it. I don't know. We just get it. So all we are doing in 13 is some more cleats and things like that for the well deck. It's just a push to fit issue. That's all we're doing in 13. And in 14, I know we get more decking. Where it goes, I don't know. We get another piece of decking that's got the officer's cabin on it. What we're doing with it, I don't know. But we get another piece of decking. So again, it's a bit, I don't know. We're jumping around all over the place. I'm fine with it. I mean, it's all going to come together in the end. But for something that has a hull as big as this model, I just thought we'd be seeing more hull. I thought almost every week it'd be, here's a piece of hull and here's someone else to do. Here's a piece of hull and someone else to do. I genuinely thought that was going to be it. I thought that you'd get your bits you were doing, but here's yet another piece of hull, just to sort of amass them, because there's that much of it. But no. So the only thing I can think of is that some of these hull pieces must be bloody huge. Maybe we're getting, you know, big chunks of hull rather than these little pieces we've been getting. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? But yeah, Titanic's, it's a lovely thing. It really is. And a lot of people clearly are interested in Titanic. I do the little stories at the end of the Titanic. And again, I know, I mean, some people are like, I think you're wrong. Possibly. It's like they are researched, and rarely will you find any story about the Titanic that somebody hasn't disputed in some way or another. Well, they say, that never happened, this happened. And that's kind of the mystery of the Titanic. Very little's known about it. I mean, it's eyewitness testimony for the bulk of what happened that night. It's almost eyewitness testimony for what the boat looked like at this point, because there are so few pictures of the Titanic that we don't really know. A lot of it's guesswork. I mean, even what happened that night is largely trying to piece together the bits of information from people all over the boat. And I mean, the one thing that we pretty much know from legal cases is witness testimony ain't really worth anything. People remember things very differently, and when you remember something, very rarely do you remember the actual occasion. You remember the last time you remembered it. which is why memories get fuzzy and hazy and strange. And it's part of the mystery of that boat. It really is, and it's a gorgeous model. It really is. I think this is going to be lovely. Over on the Disney side of things, over at the Disney Dolls House, I know a lot of the Disney Dolls Houses come and watch. Hello to you all. We do have confirmation that it is 80 more parts, which seems crazy, but it is. It's another 80 parts. That is a massive extension. I've never known a partwork extend that much. I've seen some go an extra 20 issues, 30 issues for a model. 80 is mad, because it's 2/3 of the build again, and it will be a long time to do it. Now, I'm doing it. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I am doing it. But the beauty part that we have is that Japan will be beginning this part of it, the extension, in about a month. So I'll get to see exactly what you get and whether or not it's worth it. Because I imagine that those two vehicles that come with it, it's an ice cream truck and the Christmas, I don't know what that thing is, some sort of organ or something like that. We'll see if those things are built. They've got to be. I would imagine for it to be 80, we're essentially building two vehicles, and then all the decorations that go with it. But we'll see. We'll see exactly how worth it is or isn't. I mean, the one thing that does definitely spur me on to do it is the additional figures. So you get more figures for the house. Now I know people say, "Oh, you can buy these ones. You can buy these ones." I don't want to buy those ones. I don't want to use something that I want to use the official stuff. I want to use the proper stuff with it. I don't care if it's an official Disney figure. I want to use the proper scale, proper figures for the house. I want it as is. So that's the way it is. Now you can, of course, decorate your house how you choose to. When it comes to Christmas things and summer things, you can do. Of course you can. And I was going to. I mean, before this was sort of announced, I was sort of planning on getting little Doll's House elements for a Christmas version of the house. And you can totally do that. If the extra expense isn't for you, you can totally do that. I'm not doing that. I want the ones that go with it. And that's what I'll be doing. So I will keep going. It's going to be we're not building this for a really long time, but that's okay. That's fine. That's what I'm going to do. So the figures, yeah, I mean, you do get Chip and Dale, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and Sebastian. And I can never remember what those things are called. They're the little snowmen from Frozen, not Olaf. The weird little snow baby things that appeared in Frozen Ever After. So yeah, I'll be doing it. I'll be because I want them as well, you know. So that's the way it is. So I will be going to the end. So if you are building the Disney, then I'm going to be doing it right to the end. So I'll be going along with you. Another reason why. Now I don't sell models. I know people do, but for resale value, if you want yours to be worth more than the others, well, then obviously you buy the other stuff, because less people will do the extension than did the main house. So if you've got all the official stuff when it comes to sell it as a complete set, you know, you'll need the extensions. If you're in it for that. I'm not, but I mean, if you are, you kind of need it for that. Otherwise, you'll lose the sale to someone that's got the complete thing. But I don't resell models. I mean, I would gift them before I sold them. I think I'm not interested in making money from anything like this. But yeah, it's the Disney Dolls House is a gorgeous thing, and I don't see it as, oh God, we're gonna go even further now. I see it as a good thing. I'm like, cool. I get another 18 months out of it. Cool. So I'm happy with that. I've had notification that Iron Man has shipped, so I will be getting, I want to say 73 to 76. That should be here next week. I've also, rather bizarrely, had notification that Ecto 1 has shipped, which I wasn't expecting, because I just I'm never expecting Ecto 1 now. But 35 of Ecto 1 apparently has shipped. Now, that could take up to 3 weeks to get here, but the last one took 2 days. From the notification to it arriving was 2 days. So who knows? So once 35 is here, there's only 2 more after that. There's only 37 issues in the run, so 35 will finish the rear light bar, and we will start the equipment rack for the roof, and we're nearly done. So it's only, in total, 35, 36, and 37. There's only 3 parts in issue 37, so there's only 11 parts left to go to that model. After we've got 35, there'll be 7 parts left. That's it. That's it. So it's literally just the little details now that we're putting on there, things like the aerial and the ladder on the side, the pipes, things like that. But that'll nearly be done, and it'll be bittersweet, that one. I'm kind of at the point now where I just want it to end, because it was supposed to end this month. Originally, I was on track to end in May of this year, but it looks like I'm still going to be going in July, possibly August. So I just want it to end, but at the same time, I am going to miss it when it's gone, because it meant a lot to us, the Ecto 1 model, it really did. And then I will be looking for a replacement for Ecto 1, because once one model ends, another rises up in its place. And speaking of which, new models. This isn't a new one, but this is one that's now got a full run. And you might have heard me mention it before. The Infinity Gauntlet is being rolled out to a full run in France. By Altair is the brand in France. It's D'Agostini, which is fan home over here. Yeah, it's now got a full run. It had a trial last year where they built the first 4 parts of it. I can already see from the full run there are differences between the trial and the full run. The finish, for one, is better on the full run. So the actual finish of the gold detailing on the trial run was a bit patchy, but I can see on the actual full run they've improved that. It looks a lot better. Anyway, here's some pictures of the Infinity Gauntlet. So as you can see from that, it's huge. It's huge. Now, for the longest time, I said I have no interest at all in building a glove. I don't want to spend 2 years of my life building a glove. And part of me still feels that way. However, Oscar, who I do the Oslo's Lego and the Talking Marvel with, wants this glove. Wants the glove badly. And he had a very good sales pitch for me, and it was, that glove was my whole life. Like, how was that glove your whole life? And you know what? He's right. That glove was his whole life. He was born in 2010 when Avengers came out, and he was obsessed with Marvel from a very, very early age. And he, accumulated in the Infinity War, the Infinity Saga, when he was around about 9-10 years old. And it was a massive part of his life, watching Thanos going and collecting the Infinity Stones, and phase 1, 2, and 3 of the Marvel universe was massive for him. Huge. And he wants the glove. I want the glove. Dad, I want that glove. So we're going to build it. We are going to build the glove. Now, I actually really like the glove. I just didn't want to build it. And the reason why is because Iron Man soured me from building anything like that. Because I thought, oh, Christ, building 5 of those fingers. Now, I'm going into it knowing full well that I'm going to have to build 5 fingers and it's going to be dull. So I know that. But that glove is gorgeous. It really is. The more I see of it, the more I think, you know what, that is a beautiful model and I would like it. So I am going to take it on the chin and just take the boring build. If it is a boring build, I'm just assuming it's a boring build because it's a glove. I'm just going to accept it. So I'm going to go in there knowing, so I can't complain. I know full well that I signed up to build a glove, but my God, is it a gorgeous glove. Now, there is other gloves available. So if you want one you can wear, this ain't it, right? But then the other sort of premium glove on the market is there's one from a company called Hot Toys that do a very large full-scale replica, because that's what this is. This is the same size as the one Thanos wears. It is a 1-to-1 replica, so it's 67 centimeters long. So the thing everyone asks is, can I wear it? Yeah, kind of. You can wear it, but your hand ain't big enough to fit in it. I mean, it's not, right? I'm massive, right? And the palm of that thing is about the size of my chest. So my hand, even though I could get it in there, I can't put the bloody thing on. It's huge. If you've seen the movie when Spider-Man's trying to pull it off his wrist, and it's the size of his kind of head and his shoulders, that's how big that glove is. It's massive. So you can put your arm in it, definitely. You couldn't wear it because you're not, 9 feet tall and you don't weigh, 110 stone, so it's not going to fit you. But you can definitely put it on. I mean, as an example, we measured it, and it would come to my shoulder. Now, I'm huge, so for a lot of you, it's not going to happen. I could get the thing on my arm, but it's going to come to my shoulder. But I don't want to wear it. Why would I want to wear it? I mean, that's the strangest thing. Can I wear it? What for? What do you want to wear it for? Now, the major difference between this one and the Hot Toys one is the Hot Toys one has no articulation at all. Okay, it's a statue. It is not. It's a replica size, but it's not a replica glove. So it's a statue, and it's made of polystone. So it's a painted polystone. So if you chip it, it comes off, and underneath it's just white. That's what happens with that one. Whereas this one is a fully articulated metal gauntlet. So each finger is completely articulated. You can move them. You can't do that with the Hot Toys one. The Hot Toys one is also polystone, so it's a resin. So if you drop it, it's gonna shatter. That's what's gonna happen. It's gonna crack. It's gonna break. It's very strong polyresin. So I mean, it's not gonna explode, but chunks will break off it if you do break it. Whereas this one, again, it's metal. So yeah, as far as I'm aware, there's no one else that offers a full-scale replica in metal of this. Something the Hot Toys does have going for it is it features a pulse mode. So you can either have it lit where all the stones are lit, but you can also have a pulse mode where they sort of throb. It's very nice. The Partwork one doesn't do that. The lights, they turn on, that's it. So you can turn each individual one on. They all have their own power supply, and you can turn each individual one on, that's it. You can also remove every stone. You can take all the stones out of the Partwork one. You can't do that with the Hot Toys one. So these are the pros and cons. Something you can do with the Partwork version is it's powered independently. So no matter where you place it, or if you were managed to wear it, you can turn the power on. You can't do that with the Hot Toys one. The Hot Toys one has all the power in the stand, so you have to plug a USB into it. That sits on the stand, and the stand powers it. The Partworks one that we're building doesn't do that. It's powered independently, so you can carry it, wear it anywhere, and it will have it. But no, you can't wear it, because I mean, it's like 3 of my fingers the size of one of Thanos' fingers, so I couldn't get it on if I wanted to. And why would I want to? I cannot see any occasion that I would want to put on an Infinity Gauntlet and go out in public. Just can't. I mean, if I wanted to, they are available. You can get a very nice Hasbro. You can get a £100 Hasbro one. It's lovely, that will fit, and you can snap, and it's really nice. And I have seen other Hot Toys one. I mean, a boss of mine was very into Marvel, had some very expensive collectibles, and he had the Iron Man Gauntlet, the Nano Gauntlet. That had the stones in it. It was lovely. It was really nice. But we're building it. So we're building the Gauntlet. So that's happening. Now, it's not going to be released here for, I would say, at least a year, because France tends to get a year before us, but we are 100% building the Infinity Gauntlet. And then it's going to be the kids. It's not something I'm keeping. It's going to be my kids. So when he's 30, 40 years old, he will still have, hopefully, an enormous gauntlet that he built with his dad. And that's why we're doing it. That's why we're building the boys, because I mean, ultimately this is how this started. It was just building with the boys through lockdown, and that's how we got into this. But that's what we're doing. So we are 100% building the Infinity Gauntlet, and I accept that it might be dull, but that's the way it is. And part of the other reason I'm doing it is because of the originally we planned on building the Alien. I've kind of lost interest in building the Alien, if I'm honest with you. The more I see of it, the more I'm just not interested. I don't want to deal with that rubber that wraps around it. I can't see that rubber holding up very long. There's a lot of magnets involved in it. There's a lot of glue involved in it. Magnets don't hold the magnetism, so the magnets are going to fade out a while. I can just see this. I can see me constantly gluing the skin back on that thing, and the appeal just isn't there. So originally I was planning on doing the Alien. The appeal's just not there for me. So I don't think I'm going to be doing it. If Jack, who was obsessed with doing the Alien, insists, maybe we'll do it. And we might do it if it ever goes to, say, Agora, and we can get it over a year, possibly. But no, I can't see us doing it. I mean, we might get some trial issues, but no, I can't see us going for it, really. So what are we gonna place the other stuff with? Because they're coming to an end. The Root Mouse is coming to an end in October of this year. Iron Man will be ended in December. But we are swapping these out. We are looking at doing Knight Rider as well, which Knight Rider's been running for the best part of a year now. 6 months, 7 months over here. And we'd like to build it because it's looking really nice. I'm seeing other people's builds and thinking, man, I wish I built that. So I wish I'd held out and built it over Iron Man, if I'm honest. But Knight Rider's looking really nice, and there are lots of channels you can go and see people building Knight Rider on. And speaking of channels, if you want to see some really nice builds of the Eddie Stobart build, it's one that I'm not doing, but ones I can't recommend enough to go check out are Geordie Dave. So if you search Geordie Dave and Eddie Stobart, you'll find Geordie Dave's channel. Good guy, Dave, and he's doing really well on it. And at the same time, Jay's channel. Jay's also building the dollhouse, so some of you might be familiar with Jay, but Jay's also building the Eddie Stobart, and he's also doing the Citroen 2 CV, which is a nice build as well. But yeah, be sure to check those two out. So check out Geordie Dave and check out Jay's channel as well. Some good stuff over there. Some good guys, good stuff. And they know their onions. They're good blokes. We do have more coming up from Oscar's Marvel books. He's halfway through The Oath, Doctor Strange at the moment, and he's enjoying it. We went to see the movie. We went to see Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Can't say anything about it if you haven't seen it, because you can't talk about it at all without spoiling the hell out of it. But if you haven't seen it, go see it, because it's really good, and it's really good. But again, I can't say anything without absolutely ruining the movie for you, so I'll say nothing at all. I have had notification that pack 7 of the Root Master is shipped. I've got pack 6. They did send me a replacement part. I had a problem with one of the parts, and they've sent me a replacement. So pack 6 will be going up on the channel next week, as will Iron Man if it arrives, as will R2-D2, which has also arrived. R2-D2, we've got the lovely chrome frame. In fact, I might have that to hand. I do. So we have the chrome head of R2-D2, which will be, there you go, there's a spoiler for you, that will be going up on the channel this week, because I think we'll be building that this afternoon, if I'm honest. And that's about all I've got for this week. I hope you've had a good week. I've had a great week. I hope you've had a good week. I hope you've been enjoying your weekend. The weather's been nice. Weather's going to get better apparently as well, so that's something to look forward to. So we're coming out of a long dark autumn and winter, and spring and summer's properly here now. So yeah, good times. If you've got any questions at all, please feel free to pop them in the comments, or you can contact me at buildingtheboys@outlook.com. Always love hearing from you. Happy to answer any questions you may have. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button, and you'll get notifications of every single time we put one of these videos up. There's a lot more to come. So we look forward to seeing you then. And that's it. In a world where you can be anything at all, just be nice, and we'll see you next time.